Now, game week 2 has gone all right for me so far. I've scored 40 points and I'm in 4.4 million overall, but I've still got one player left to play, and I thought I'd go through my transfer plans for game week 3. All right, we'll start off then by having a look at how my team got on in game week 2. Like I said, 40 points, 4.4 million overall. Sanchez, 3-pointer. I've spoken about this on previous videos I've made, but I've not been massively impressed with Sanchez. I think the Chelsea defence is good, but I think he kind of lets the side down. I'm really surprised with the amount of money that Chelsea have spent on outfield players that they still have Rob Sanchez starting for them in goal. He got 3 points, and when you think about it, the other goalkeeper I could have picked in Dubravka, there was a decision for me to make going into game week 2 as to who I played. It was a close one, but I didn't want to take the risk of having double Burnley defence. They were really good defensively in the Championship last season with Burnley, but we saw what Sunderland did against West Ham. I was a little bit concerned that they would concede. So I went for Esteve, and then I benched Dubravka and played Sanchez. Ultimately, the 3-point swing, given that Sanchez got some saves points, I'm not too mad about that. Richards and Williams, both with a blank against one another, obviously played each other. I was praying for a 0-0 in that game, but it just didn't happen. When Sarr scored, that obviously wiped out the Williams clean sheet, and then the game, it went away in terms of clean sheet points from there. Is what it is, right? I'm happy to still have both of these in my team. To be honest, I've been really impressed with both teams this season. I think both Forest and Palace, they've both looked relatively solid defensively, so I'm confident long-term that they're good options. Esteve, I don't know how often I'm going to start him, but for a 4 million defender getting a clean sheet in the second game week of the season, yeah, you take that all day, don't you? Joachim Andersen, who came in for Cole Palmer, obviously got injured in the warm-up. When I go through my transfer plans, I'll talk about what I'm going to do with Palmer. But he came in for a 4-pointer. He was first on my bench, and I had Pedro Porro second on my bench. And when Porro kept the clean sheet against Man City, I was obviously really worried because we knew that Palmer wasn't going to play. I saw I had 5 points sat there, second on my bench, and Andersen was obviously going to start against Man United. So for him to have 4 points, a 1-point swing between him and Porro, it is what it is. So my benching and it wasn't a benching headache as such because it was bench order that decided who started. But, the swings that have hit me this game week, I've had 4 points worth of swings, so I'm not too concerned. My midfield, I've got Rodgers, Bruno Fernandes and Reyners who all played. Bruno Fernandes obviously missing the penalty, absolutely skying it against Fulham, but he did get defensive contributions. Just what could have been with him, wouldn't it? If he scored and then got the DEFCON points, we'd have been laughing, but it just didn't happen. I think that game proved to us, though, the quality and what Bruno Fernandes brings. Penalties. Man United, I think, are going to win a fair few this season with the kinds of players they've got in their front line. And yeah, he's obviously going to get DEFCON. He achieved it against Fulham, so for me, that's quite pleasing. The only thing that has worried me, I saw there was a bid come in. I think it's going to be till to the end of the transfer window. This is going to keep happening, but I think another Saudi team have put in a bid, and the club have left it up to Bruno. Oh, I read this. I don't know if it's true. And the club have left it up to Bruno as to what they do. And I do have some questions about Man United. I don't necessarily think it impacts FPL, but is their best team really with Bruno in the midfield too? Is that the best team that Man United can play? I remember Iwobi in the post-match press conference that he did talking about the game was saying, well, they saw the Man United midfield and they knew exactly how they could exploit it. And if Fulham can do that, what can the rest of the teams, and I'm not disrespect to Fulham, but I'm sure the rest of the teams in the Premier League can see that as well. So, yeah, I'm sure his minutes are going to be fine. I doubt, he had the chance to go to Saudi during pre-season, didn't he? So I think he probably stays. Reinders, I had him since the start, so I didn't make a transfer for any reason this week. I rolled my transfer, so I've got 2 free transfers for next week. He blanked. It is what it is. Rodgers, I've not been massively impressed with. Not been massively impressed with Villa. Their fixtures are still good, but they haven't scored a goal or even really looked like threatening yet against Brentford and Newcastle they played so far. Brentford obviously conceding 3 goals to Nottingham Forest last week. Yeah, jury's out, I'd say, on Rodgers and Watkins at the moment. And João Pedro, had he not been so highly owned, I think my rank would be a lot better following that goal and 2 assists. But he's probably, if not one of the most popular strikers in the game right now. So yeah, his 15 points is basically half the points my entire team scored. But because he's so highly owned, it probably protected my rank more than actually gained any. So as a summary of how my team got on, there you go, 40 points, 4.4 million overall. Now just quickly, I wanted to say all of the expected points data and stats that you'll see in this video is provided by Fantasy Football Hub. I use Fantasy Football Hub in all of the videos that I make basically. And using the link at the top of the description, if you want a piece of Fantasy Football Hub for yourself, I'll get you 50% off the sign-up fee. And if you don't win your mini league this season, Fantasy Football Hub will refund you your money back. Terms and conditions apply. So check out the link at the top of the description below. All right then, here's how we're looking for Game Week 3 at the moment. 61.9 expected points. I've got nothing in the bank. I've got 2 free transfers, which I haven't mentioned here. I've got 2 frees and a 90% AI rating as things stand. But there's one glaring problem in my team, which we'll get to. We'll get to Palmer. Defence-wise, though, I think I'm pretty settled. Anderson, he's got Chelsea. I think he's probably the one that I should bench out of the other four. So Porro, Williams, Richards probably get the nod for me. Villa, I know I've got double Villa attack, but they failed to score so far this season. And Richards, he should be, have a decent chance of getting DEFCON, even if Villa score, which I guess is good for me because hopefully Rodgers or Watkins will be involved in that. Williams has got West Ham. I'm really hopeful for a clean sheet in that one. And you can see there, he rotates really quite nicely with Anderson. So I'll get Anderson in for Leeds and then bench Williams for Arsenal next week. Porro, after the international break. Porro's got Bournemouth. They've been pretty good, but so have Spurs. And Sanchez with Fulham. Like I said, I think Sanchez kind of lets the side down with that Chelsea defence, but obviously I'm going to stick with him. Salah, Fernandes, Rodgers, Reinders in my midfield. And obviously Cole Palmer. What do we do with Cole Palmer, eh? He's sitting there in my team. I'm going to talk about Spurs defence. We'll talk about that in a second. He's sitting there in my team at 10.5 million. Hasn't scored. Only played 1 game. And I think he was actually injured. Maresca suggested that he was carrying that injury in the Crystal Palace game. He sat out training this week. Warmed up and then felt it again. It's a groin problem. He's got a scan, I believe, on Tuesday for that. But I don't know what to do with him. Because we've got the international break next week. He's, say it's an injury that he could warm up through, if that makes sense. He played at the Crystal Palace game through it, and Maresca thought, well, obviously the Chelsea medical staff thought it wasn't serious enough to completely prevent him from trying to play the West Ham game. So I don't think it's a serious injury. And we're about to go into an international break. So obviously we've got Game Week 3. That game will happen before the international break. But, these players that are injured, it's not just Palmer, it's Saka as well, isn't it? I'm sure there's others that can be talked about as well. They potentially have an opportunity to rest for 3 weeks if they need to. But I do have 2 free transfers, don't I? So I could do something with Palmer. I think, to be honest, I always say this, I'm not in a rush to move him on because the player that I look to bring in probably is not going to be subject. It's not going to be enough money bringing in that price rises are going to be an issue. I'm not looking to upgrade Cole Palmer. And I just think waiting for information in this particular circumstances is going to be more important than price rises. So I'm probably going to stick with Cole Palmer and leave it till the team selection video on Wednesday. Once he's had his scan on Tuesday, we might get a little bit of information. Or maybe we have to wait until the Maresca press conference. But I'm not in a rush to move him on. I'm going to stay patient and see what happens. Because another thing to say on Chelsea is the fixtures are good as well. Like Fulham, Brentford, Man United and Brighton, all those 4 games. I think they're pretty good fixtures. So if he is fit for, he could even start in Game Week 3. But if he's fit for Game Week 4 onwards, I think he's still a good option. And one of the things I think that's been holding him back, obviously the injury as well, is the position that Maresca's been playing him in. And I think there was full intention in the West Ham game to play him off the right, which I think is his best position. We could have seen Cole Palmer off the right and scoring some points. And of course, they won 5-1. So could you imagine what Palmer would have done off the right against West Ham in a game that Chelsea won 5-1? I did very quickly show the Spurs defence then before talking about Cole Palmer. I've been really impressed with the Spurs defence as well. They've kept a clean sheet against Burnley and 1 against, obviously, Man City. They've not conceded a goal in the Premier League yet. I've been really impressed with them. I'm in a position with my team at the moment where I just don't desperately need to make a move. I don't need to get rid of any of my defenders. I'm quite happy with them. But at the same time, I do do really like Van de Ven in particular. I think 4.5 million for another piece of the Spurs defence is a really good value. So, you know, if any of these defenders get injured or start to let me down or whatever, Richards, for example, if Gahey leaves Crystal Palace, he's such a leader at the back for them. I do wonder what impact that has on them. I think they'll be okay without Eze. I think they'll be just fine. They'll probably be able to replace him. But Gahey, just with the way he organises that defence, yeah, we'll see. But for the time being, I'll stick with who I've got. Another player that, well, he's not done anything so far is Morgan Rogers. Obviously, he burst onto the scene. We all knew what a good player he was going into last season. I think some of us engaged FPL managers did anyway. But he was obviously phenomenal for Villa last season. An absolute Unai Emery favourite. He played pretty much every game. 20-ish. I think he got 19 attacking returns actually in the league last season. I just thought he'd be a great option at 7 million based on what we saw last season. You know, he's going to play pretty much every minute of every game. But this season, he's not really done anything. You know, 2 games, less than, well, 0.1 expected goals and 0.17 expected assists. So he's barely done anything. And, well, it's not like there's a shortage of midfielders around Morgan Rogers' price point that's doing the business. I mean, namely, we've got Semenyo at the moment. He's got 3 attacking returns in the 2 games that he's played so far. Tottenham up next, who I've just bigged up as a solid defence, to be fair. But then the next 5 fixtures are decent. Yeah, they could quite easily, Bournemouth and Newcastle at home after the international break, they could quite easily do well there. And then Leeds and Fulham, they could obviously do really well there as well. I believe Semenyo represents Ghana. And the only thing for me before international break, he's going to go away and play international football, I would imagine. And I don't like the idea of a week before the international break, transferring out a player who has, you know, it's fair to say Morgan Rogers has a good track record in FPL, transferring out a known, decent FPL asset for another one before an international break where you could very much risk Semenyo being injured. Yeah, it doesn't strike me as the smartest move. And another thing with Semenyo, he could also, if Palmer is out, I definitely think I will make this move because it frees up some cash. And, well, if Palmer's out for an extended period of time, I think I'll make this move. Yeah. So Semenyo, I think, is my main transfer target, I would say, in the midfield. Another player as well that's not done anything for Villa so far is Ollie Watkins. I mean, I'm spending 9 million on him. The other striker in the game that cost 9 million, Gyökeres, scored 2 goals against Leeds. But Gyökeres has got Liverpool up next. And I think the fixtures for Villa are really good. Crystal Palace, Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley. And I think this is also a redeeming feature about Rodgers as well. I think it might just be a case that they need some time to just get up and running in the league, the Villa. I think Emery, I trust him as a manager. I think he'll find out what's been causing them to be a bit flat over the first couple of weeks and fix it. I trust him to be able to do that. And Ollie Watkins is just trustworthy, I think. I know he's gone 2 games without scoring so far, but he is a Premier League striker that just scores 15 to 20 goals a season. That's what Ollie Watkins does. And again, the fixtures are really good. Who would I swap him out for? If I look at my team, right, I'll be honest. I think this is the team. No, it's Spurs defence. There's the team. I can't do Palmer down to Semenyo and Watkins to Haaland. If I could do that, I probably would this week, but I can't afford to do it. So I think I'm probably keeping the faith with both Rodgers and Watkins for the time being, to be fair, because they've got good fixtures. They're trustworthy assets in times gone by when we've got a big enough, I'd say, sample size of data about these players. It's just Palmer really is the one I could move on. I don't think I need to make 2 moves. Can't really get to Haaland very easily. But it's just Palmer. So I think we're going to wait for some news. He's got a scan on Tuesday, and we'll go from there. And we'll see what Salah does as my captain this week. All right, well, that's the end of the video. I always say this on my transfer plans. I don't script these. You know, this is completely off the cuff because I quite like the idea of just recording my honest first thoughts about my team in this video. So hopefully you can appreciate, well, I don't know, maybe my mind doesn't work very well with FPL, to be honest. I'm 4 millionth overall, but you know what I mean. If you appreciate me going through my team like this, maybe I share some of the same thoughts with you. If you find it useful, leave us a like rating and let me know in the comments if there's anything different you would do with this team. You know, it's Palmer, isn't it? It's Palmer, stay with Palmer or get rid of him. So that's the main thing I'm interested in hearing. And yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to the Goal and Goal channel if you want to see more from me. It should be just here on your screen. And yeah, Thank you very much for watching. Catch you in the next one.